3 families were chosen.
Hey, Dad, look at Grandma.
Oh, that
Oh, wait,
is
I think these are your brushes, you guys, with your hair. Yeah, I know, you guys aren't exactly horses.
Gordon Clune, a business executive from Los Angeles. His wife, Adrienne, their 3 children, Anya, Justin, and Connor, and their niece, Tracy, have agreed to trade the luxury of their modern-day life for a 1-room cabin on the frontier.
There's cards, then there's a harmonica, and there's marbles.
You know what these are? Look at these. What do you think?
Tweezers?
No. These are curling irons.
A lot of people have been asking me, what the heck are you doing, Gordon? What do you want to do this for? I guess they look at me as being, someone that's fairly well set, a person that has, a good standard of living, a good career, and lots of opportunities and challenges in my life. And I do. I love history. America is a great country. It comes from these strong people. And I believe that we can learn so much, and personally I can grow so much by going back and understanding what our ancestors have done.
In his 21st century life in California, Gordon is president of a large manufacturing company, overseeing millions of dollars and hundreds of employees.
I don't think I'll be doing cordon bleu somehow on the frontier.
Adrienne, an Irish immigrant to this country, is a full-time mother and homemaker.
It is a huge change. I mean, we're coming from the 21st century, Southern California, where, you're pretty spoiled. You've got pretty much everything you want. I'm used to getting out, going out to nice restaurants. I'm used to traveling, and I'm used to having nice clothes. I love to shop.
We're going to do something here where the family and I could work together. I guess I've been a little bit of a workaholic, and I've been traveling, and I spend a lot of time, taking care of business. And I'm not spending as much time sometimes with my family. And they're at that critical age where if I blink, it's too late. They're going to be gone.
There was no typical homesteader. They came from diverse backgrounds. Overcrowded towns in the East, impoverished farms, and some embarked from Europe. So each of our families are being given a profile, weaving their lives with those of actual 19th century settlers.
Son of an Irish immigrant who made his pile in the California gold rush, Gordon Clune had lived the American dream. Now, over-speculation and a dip in the Los Angeles economy threatens the family's security. With farming roots on both sides of the family, you've decided to seek a new start in the Rocky Mountains.
Okay,
Isn't that exciting?
A Huck Finn hat.
I love it. You look great.
From Tennessee comes Karen Glenn, her second husband, Mark,
It's Dax.
and her 2 children, Erin and Logan Patton.
Embroidery. I can't embroider. Everybody back home is gonna laugh because every woman I work with embroiders, and I'm always laughing and making fun of them. All right.
Yes! Poker cards!
That's how we'll barter. We'll just win money off our friends. What appealed to me about this project is that I think it complements my nature. Somebody cut that ball down! Come on, Megan! Come on, Megan! Come on, Megan, win that ball!
I'm not afraid of anything. Self-reliant, hardcore, feisty.
Nice pass!
Never wanting to accept defeat. That's a lot of who I am.
Good job, Max! Come on, AJ!
In their modern-day life, Karen is a school nurse and Mark a teacher at a junior college.
You want to get some ice cream, Erin?
Yeah.
Oh, TV dinners, Mark.
When I applied for the Frontier House, I put that we were an all-American family. And I like to think that we are, that we represent the majority of people in America.
I think I'm trying to achieve with this project a sense of really who I am. I think people don't have a chance to stop and think and reevaluate what they're going through and who they are and where they're at.
My family's so adventurous, so when I presented it to them, I mean, I could have said we're taking a trip to the moon. and they'd all been in.
Unable to afford farmland in Tennessee or Mark's wages as a teacher, the Glenn family has decided to relocate to Montana Territory after reading of free land being available under the Homestead Act. The newspaper article talked of a home seeker's paradise in the newly available district in the Boulder Valley.
You look like the preacher.
Yeah, I know.
Teacher Nate Brooks has come from Boston with his father, Rudy, a retired corrections officer.
Like Christmas. Hey, hey. The one with the big numbers are probably mine.
I think what I'll like most about this whole experience is working together with people you care about. I think there's a part of me that is really excited just about the kind of survival mentality of what the Frontier folks would have experienced just coming out.
Checkers? Nice. Pretty slick, huh, Pop?
All right.
It's important for me to be there for Nate because Nate's my son. And whatever I can do to nurture, to train, to educate, to support is the role of a parent, I believe.
Many history books ignore the presence of African American pioneers. In fact, by 1880, almost 500,000 Black Americans were living in the West.
I think as I've come closer to the project, it brings back memories of my own youth. Pioneer House was, was what we grew up doing, so it would be probably a tremendous closing of the circle going back and seeing it again.
Rudy will only stay for the first 2 months to help Nate settle his land. On July 4th, Nate's fiancée, social worker Kristen, will arrive for a homestead wedding.
We already had plans to get married and actually had a date set before we heard about Frontier House, but our lifestyle and our desire to move west matched up perfectly with the project.
In the 19th century, interracial marriages were generally frowned upon. By moving to the frontier, people hoped to escape the prejudices of the day.
I know it was very challenging in laws that forbid marriages in the South, and it was definitely challenging in any area, just because of the difference in the discrimination.
Young teachers Nate Brooks and Kristen McLeod have been planning their future life outside of Boston for some while. After careful savings, they have managed to budget for a new start out on the frontier. Out west, they hope to escape the financial and social pressures they anticipate may surround their forthcoming marriage.
The time our families are about to revisit is 1883, the year the Northern Railroads linked east and west, bringing many new settlers. The place, Montana Territory, the most homesteaded area in all of America. Here in the old mining town of Virginia City, the first task is to stake a claim. Under the Homestead Act, passed during the Civil War, 160 acres were available for a nominal filing fee. Only men and single women could apply. The family member who completed the Frontier House application will sign. But in 1883, Karen Glenn would not have been able to file, having lost most of her legal rights upon marriage. Life on the frontier was harsh. 60% of the homesteaders didn't survive the 5 years required to prove up their land and secure ownership. Our challenge: can modern-day families last 5 months and prepare for a Montana winter under the same conditions?
Within your own home area.
Our training is being overseen by a small group of experts who specialize in the skills of the time.
The way this training's gonna work is the men will be doing the roles outdoors, and we women will be working within the home.
I think the main point to teach them is just basics. Cleanliness, how do you wash dishes, keeping that fire going on the stove so you have hot water to wash your hands and your dishes.
Your survival depends on certain things, and your proficiency with tools is going to be one of those things. I don't think they know what they've got themselves into. It's going to be a surprise to them when they find out, probably about the second or third week of their life on site here, that it's not a camping trip. You don't get to go home and take a hot shower at the end of it. They have 4 months or more that they have to live this.
Get over, get down, but number one, you got to control your horse. Anytime you're around animals, the unexpected is going to happen. And you can tell them 1,000 different things that to be aware of, but the 1,001th thing that you forgot to tell them will be the thing that gets them.
Your first task is going to be to build your home. Pace yourself.
It's fun. I love swinging an axe. I love physical labor.
That's better.
I feel like I had a tetanus shot in my right hand, but I didn't. It's just because I've been using it so much.
Whoa! He'll do anything to get out of chopping.
The way you're going to be able to know whether your stove is warm enough is by opening the oven and putting your hand in it.
I'm highly impressed with my wood stove, Bren. Isn't this fun? I've had so much fun.
It didn't sit too well with me at first when we got the schedule, and it's like sewing and cooking, making bread, sanitary. You know, great.
Every morning before I went to school, this is what I smelled like.
On a 19th century homestead, animals were a critical part of daily life. Livestock expert Rawhide Johnson has given each family a milk cow and calf, horses, and a dog.
Trying to find the right livestock for the 1883 situation that we've created here has been kind of a little tougher than I thought it was going to be. The really incredible tough spot was the milk cows. Nobody milks cows anymore, and especially hand milks them. And the enclosed dairies, of course, didn't want to relinquish any of their cows, especially period cows, because there's not very many of them. And one lady here in Montana told me that I could have her daughter and I could have her husband, but I couldn't have her milk cow. Glad to see you do that.
From this point on, the families will have to feed and care for their new animals.
Can I hold one? All the time.
One of the dogs has recently given birth to 4 puppies.
This one's the last one to have its eyes open because everyone else had their eyes open today. So finally, this one's opening.
These dogs are going to be a major tool in survival as they grow up. They were your early warning device if there was deer or raccoons in the garden, somebody coming to visit you, a bear coming, all those kinds of things. They kind of stay awake when you're sleeping. And so you raise them to be that.
Childhood ended early on the frontier because there was so much work to do. So our children are about to experience a big change from their 21st century lives.
I think there are going to be lots of things that will be hard to do for wood, like chopping firewood and making things out of wood. I never really thought of like how the children in 1880s would really have to work, like what would they have to do, like what would they have to do for entertainment and things like that.
I'm gonna miss basketball tryouts. I'm gonna miss friends' parties. I'm gonna miss swimming in the summer. I think I'm gonna miss probably showers. I mean, I can't go a day without taking a shower. I think it's really gross. It's a really gross feeling. I think I'm gonna have like a hard time with it. I'll probably like flip out a couple of times. I'm going to miss my bed, a house, my trampoline, my Nintendo 64, my Super Nintendo. I think I'm out of breath. Can we say I could?
Okay, this one's ready to go. All right.
The families have agreed to a set of rules. Most importantly, to live as closely as they can to the experience of homesteaders in the 1880s.
Girls, it takes air.
A modern-day camcorder will be allowed to help them document their thoughts and feelings 24 hours a day.
Definitely some changes going on in my body, some soreness in my back and shoulders, and from swinging the axe.
I'm still in training and I'm not working that hard. And I'm so tired, I wanted to cry almost any minute.
This should be interesting. How easy we leave the past behind and take on a new role.
I think today we're going to be talking about
The average life expectancy in 1880 was just 40. Today, it's 77. Our families are being provided with medicines of the era. However, in an emergency, they can see a doctor. What they can't have are popular remedies of the day that contained opium and morphine, which numbed rather than cured. A bottle of whiskey, an essential in every home medicine kit, will be their only painkiller.
Now, you've had 2 doses. How do you feel?
Great.
Some of the ways of the time will require a radical readjustment.
The other thing that you're going to have to learn, the lack of toilet paper. They used water in tin cans, sponges perhaps, or rags to wash themselves with.
I know like they used to do things with their hair and their clothes and things, but did they ever do anything about makeup?
Makeup was absolutely not used by people who were of any moral standing at all, other than women in theater, perhaps, or your barroom floozy.
We don't think we look that good without makeup. We look kind of plain and ugly. We look younger. Our faces, we look like I don't know, we look like a 4-year-old.
We want clean faces.
Oh, no.
We want clean faces.
I don't give a crap. I don't wear makeup.
She doesn't wear it. I'm wearing lipstick. It's not a priority.
Not a priority.
Yeah, we let that go.
Well, it's a big priority for me. I'm really in trouble here.
A topic rarely discussed in the 1880s was menstruation. Tampons were not invented until the 1930s, so Sue Kane needs to re-educate the women.
We did some research, and there were sanitary belts. They were expensive, and you may or may not have had them. But we thought it was only appropriate that we provide them for you. Karen, would you mind?
Oh, why me?
Because we knew you'd be willing to
Yes.
do it here.
Oh, I'm just...
Just all you have to do is just show us that you put one leg this way.
Pull it up.
Okay. You guys, you know what you call this in California?
A diaper.
Your bottoms to your bikini.
Some crucial personal decisions have been left to our participants, such as contraception. The subject was taboo. The Comstock Act of 1873 labeled the topic obscene and threatened a $5,000 fine or 10 years hard labor for sending information or contraceptive devices through the mail. As a result, people in remote areas resorted to homemade alternatives, including the pig intestine condom.
You know, so much of this project, I think, is striving for historical accuracy and authenticity. And in some cases, those items have to be replicated. And the closest modern-day equivalent I would think of is a condom.
You know, I think this is one of the key issues in the clash between now and then. I mean, this is probably the one.
I'm taking my birth control pills. That's that.
But she's gonna make me take them too, just in case.
Here, honey. No, you don't have to take those
There's a
peach color.
backup.
You just take them off. It's okay.
Adrian and I can't have another baby because I took care of things along the way. So
9 years ago.
yeah, so she, you know, after 3 kids, that was enough.
Gosh, I don't know why you even get to join into discussion if you've already been clipped.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Well, there's always abstention. You consider that?
you do it, we do it.
You know? No, we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
thinking
unless
for
you
some
step
other
outside.
Well, you know what?
For other people.
That wouldn't work in our family. It's not even an issue to discuss.
Don't you love it how people want to solve your own problems?
I think it should be a personal decision, definitely.
That's great if we're going to sit here and do a roundhouse discussion about ethics, but when we start trying to imply what my methods are going to be, you know, I don't think that's fair since you guys don't have that issue and I do. So that's when I say it's really none of your business.
This is very interesting watching what's happening here. It's kind of a case of familiarity breeds contempt. We're probably a little too close for healthy conditions, really.
I just think I lost it. And the whole time I was trying to keep up this guise of everything's okay, and I'm happy, and I'm functioning, and I'm learning all this stuff that I need to learn so that we don't starve to death on the frontier.
Working together with someone, with people for a long period of time, sometimes I think that there's a natural ability to be a little bit irritated.
Good. The gun was one of the most valued tools of the homesteader, crucial for self-defense and providing food. In Montana Territory, the first hunting restrictions were introduced in 1872 in an effort to protect the declining animal population. Today's laws are strictly enforced, so hunting for game won't be an option, which has disappointed Gordon.
I understand the practicality of it, but it is a very big disappointment. I was anticipating the opportunity to be able to hunt, and even if you don't hunt because you're too busy doing everything else, you know in the back of the mind you can, and you could. You know what I mean? But without having to go through a major bureaucracy.
A gun could be important, though, for protecting livestock from predators, such as coyotes.
You got it. You hit it.
So our participants are being trained with shotguns.
Be the buckshot.
Oh, you the man, you the man.
But not everyone is convinced that any gun is a good idea.
I was in law enforcement with juvenile delinquents and in an institution, and there are a number of cases and a number of times that kids have come into the institution having killed somebody or been shot, and so I don't see weapons, guns or rifles or whatever, as a necessary evil.
Our choice of a Russian-made 12-gauge shotgun, designed in the style of an American weapon of the era, has further annoyed Gordon, who brought a vintage gun for his son, Connor.
This gun was made in 1886. Look at the engraving. Pictures of rabbits and squirrels. This is a kid's gun. And kids in the West had guns, and so did adults. But we got as a gun that you better not do a close-up on, because it's embarrassing.
I mean, some people got really upset about it, and that was you know, I felt bad for him in a sense, but I also think it was much to do about nothing. You know, if this is the only reason you came out here was to hunt with your kids, then maybe you're misdirected or you're putting too much emphasis on this one issue.
I just can't believe we're in America, you know, and we're gonna have something like that.
If Gordon brings up one more issue about firearms, I think I'm just gonna shoot him.
I feel very, very disappointed in how little this part of the West is going to be emphasized in this program.
You know, General Custer look-alike. Give me a break.
With or without guns, life and death go hand in hand on the frontier. Today, people shop at supermarkets, distanced from the source of their food. But pioneers had to tackle their basic needs head on.
In a few minutes, we will be killing these birds. There are several different ways of doing it. You can wring their necks. You can chop their heads off with a hatchet. And I'm curious, how do any of you feel about that?
I think it would be fun to watch.
You think it'll be fun to watch?
It's gonna be sad.
I think it's gonna be sad. You have to be the one killing it and deciding, okay, we're gonna kill that chicken today.
Or that calf.
It's a little bit of an ethical issue, I feel.
I don't think there's anything unethical. It's the food chain. And it's lower.
We eat, you know, chicken sandwiches or chicken nuggets or whatever, and to know that, you know, we're having to kill the chicken to get that meat is something that I feel like it's important for everybody to be in contact with and connection with.
The purpose of growing them is so they can go on our tables. So the relationship to the chicken or to any of our animals are going to be different.
Oh no, it's still moving.
Let it go so you don't get it all over you.
He's suffering. No, it's already dead.
Nice little feather.
We're burying the heads.
Because we feel bad. Okay, just put this here. Stinks.
It's hard to believe that these birds were sitting in a cage here just less than an hour ago. Now look at them.
It's not so bad. I mean, at least you see the process from start to finish. You know, and that's kind of beautiful. You can have more of an appreciation for the food you eat and not be so wasteful.
I still feel guilty.
The families are being outfitted with the basics, the tools and household goods that settlers had in the 1880s. A supply of locally available food has also been provided to get them started.
The food list that I put together came basically from a storekeeper's journal in the general area from where they're going to be. And what I did was I went through and categorized everything that went through that store in about a 6-month period.
We just found out that this is actually supposed to be enough to keep us going for 5 weeks. And I'm a little concerned that maybe we've underestimated in places.
It is going to be a big challenge for them to look at a storehouse of food and say, okay, this has got to last me for 6 weeks.
Just pat her legs, sweetie.
10 days in, and the Glens have a problem. Their milk cow, Crystal, is sick.
Her production has been so low that the calf's also going hungry.
She is their responsibility, and they are worried about the possible consequences. On the frontier, they will depend on Crystal for milk, butter, and cheese.
Are we gonna have to kill Crystal?
No, sweetie, but we may have to kill her calf. I know. Because the calf competes for milk, and if,
Can we keep it until its cuteness goes away?
yeah, I think we can keep it till its cuteness goes away.
Since the families haven't left the modern day, a vet is called to look at the problem.
The fourth stomach is displaced to the left side, so by placing her on her back, rolling her to and fro, we're hopeful that we can relieve that entrapment, allow the abomasum to return to its proper position on the right side.
I'm more than a little concerned. I'm worried about the animal, but I'm also worried about what do we do? What would you have done? Your milk cow's sick. She's been off her feed, hasn't produced any milk. She's laid down.
Cut her right to there.
Milk is going to be, besides water and probably fire, one of the most essential things that we're going to have. Cooking, drinking. There's I mean, this is, as far as drink machines, this is the only drink machine that we are actually going to have out in the wilderness is our milk cow.
Most homesteaders had little money and were attracted by the promise of free land. Our family's historical profiles include a small amount of savings, which they will be able to spend at a recreated general store. Their money will also have to cover the cost of their new homes.
The sale of your house in California has enabled you to employ a local builder to assist you in the construction of your home in the Boulder Valley. To keep costs down, you have elected to work with the builders. Therefore, your home will be in the early stages of construction when you arrive. Wow, that's exciting.
Your financial background. You are penniless. No. You will be building your own cabin.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I wonder if we can buy more tools.
A land agent in Montana has secured you a site complete with an existing cabin. Yay! Yes! Thank you, thank you. Shoot!
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is a life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
As the intense training period comes to an end, the families begin their physical transformation to 19th century pioneers. On the agenda for today, haircuts, a clean shave, and finally, dressing in their period clothing. Each family will then be photographed to commemorate their journey westward.
For anyone who ever thinks they've had a bad hair day, you gotta see this. What a disaster! We put these rag curls in last night so that we'll look authentic for our photos today. And this is like the worst. I'm dying here. It's like bad enough. We're not allowed to wear any makeup today, but now I gotta look like Shirley Temple as well.
And just set it over here, right over here. Okay.
This is mine.
The clothing has been handmade and researched for period accuracy. They will each be given work clothes and dress clothes to suit their new life. For the photographs, they will dress in what was commonly known as their Sunday best.
That on you? Don't be stockings. I don't understand this thing. It should sit right under your breast.
They're in there somewhere. Just can't find them.
The women's clothing has 9 layers, from tightly laced corsets to chemises and bustle pants.
Just right at the top. These are airy.
Getting undressed was such a drama that the ladies' underdrawers had an open crotch to make bathroom visits a little easier. Fully dressed, each woman has gained an extra 12 pounds.
Do you swear on a stack of Bibles you don't have mascara on?
Only mascara.
Well, that's makeup, young lady.
Clara, you know these suspenders? They're meant to keep your pants high up. Why are the pants so high?
Not bad, huh?
Looks like you're getting ready for a wedding.
These aren't easy.
You're looking pretty sharp, young man.
You know what? Wimpy on Popeye wore this kind of suit.
Ready to head to the saloon?
Put on your hat. Let's do it.
All right.
Golly! Look at that.
What do you think?
I like it. Turn around. You can't see the whole outfit. Look at her. Golly.
Oh, look at you.
My gracious. Holy smokes. Hello, my dear. Let's have a look.
Look at my butt.
You just let me wear makeup. Could have looked twice as good.
Okay, everyone look at the top of the camera. 1, 2.
Not being allowed to wear makeup today was really a shocker. I didn't expect that. I'm expecting not to wear it on the frontier, but for today, the day when we're going to get our outfits and get in them and have our photos taken, I really thought I'd have a chance to look good. And I would have felt happy about what I look like. So I thought I looked like crap. I'm sorry. I did not enjoy it. I tried all day not to cry.
The thing that's amazing is how really the 21st century woman isn't preoccupied with her covering up her body, but she is very preoccupied with putting on the makeup and putting on a mask to hide behind in her face. And what is she hiding? Is she hiding her getting older? Is she hiding wrinkles? Is she hiding what? I don't know.
What's there to say? You know, what's the big deal? It's not like I'm going to town every day or meeting my friends for lunch, going out to milk a cow.
The training is complete, and now the adventure can begin. Today is the day the families will journey into the past.
Come on in, y'all. Some things just never change. I've just been comparing the major differences between what I'm wearing and what I used to be wearing. And certain things like being able to breathe and have, use the bathroom. Just those little things in life that one just appreciates and misses.
We have a really easy way of getting a tent up. 2 seconds. There it is. So we just go under that tent and we're great.
I like it. Most of my costume, except the bonnet.
Don't fall down the stairs.
My brother told me I look like a mailbox. Guess what I heard what Anya's doing?
What have you heard, honey?
That Anya's trying to sneak in her makeup and her hair dryer and everything that she likes.
One of the big scandals of the pioneer life already, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a whisper, but I heard a hairdryer. Which, how crazy is that?
It's the females, I think, that are trying to slip in kind of some makeup or some shampoo, get some things slide it under the radar.
Okay, I've heard all this to do about makeup when the real thing that I'm going to try to smuggle is this. That's right. Your basic, cheap, rough on the butt, industrial strength toilet paper. But oh my God, this is going to be the most valued item I think out there. Listen to it rustle. Even the wrapping is going to be better than what we have out there. I just don't think I can bear to leave it.
In the 1880s, homesteaders would travel weeks, sometimes months, to reach their land. Our pioneers are about to embark on a wagon train journey that will take just 2 days. Before they leave, the families must sort through a mountain of belongings: pots, pans, tools, and food. It will be 6 weeks before they can restock. So like the settlers before them, they must make hard choices about what to bring and what to leave behind.
The tripod, we need all that.
We'll definitely take that for long-term storage.
All right.
Do you think Lindsay will too?
I don't need it for
All right, so that'll actually help a little bit. No.
Most homesteaders traveled in farm wagons known as prairie schooners, which are actually quite small.
4 foot by about 12 to 15 foot. It wouldn't even fit the books in our house.
With wagons filled beyond capacity, the trail west was often littered with items which were cast off along the way.
Watch out for the wire behind you.
So we'll just start with the stuff on top first and then save room for the 2 trunks.
We're loading up the wagon here, and I'm saying, I wish I had my Land Rover. It's just so much easier.
What I'm trying to do is find a way to store my eggs so they won't get broken on the trip. I've already broken 2 preparing for the trip. So it's kind of like that 5th grade science experiment where you have to pack an egg so that you can drop it off a building and not let it get broken.
Mama, can we get 2 more eggs?
No, unless you lay them.
Darn it.
As the families continue to pack, Rawhide gives Karen and Mark some bad news.
Your milk cow's not doing very good.
Curses.
So we're going to pull her out of the wagon train and take her to the vet this afternoon. I don't know what's wrong with her. Maybe her stomach's rolled back over again, but she didn't have much of any milk this morning. She looks an awful lot better than she did last time that she was sick. And it may just be the stress level. And once she gets out on green grass and gets settled down and stuff, she may do fine.
I think he's sugarcoating it. I don't know a whole lot about cows. I do know a little bit about animals, and animals don't get sick that quick again and again. I don't think she's gonna make it. It's just, I don't know. I feel better with people dying, maybe, than the stupid Jersey cow.
It's out. We just need to get another cow up here. We need to get a cow up here now because I got a family of 4 and we're big milk drinkers. And there's, I mean, that's going to be our beverage of choice. That and water.
It's for medicinal purposes only.
Good, I got a headache.
It'll go.
Nick! I can't wear this thing anymore. Ugh. I'll wear it when I have no work to do.
We got ourselves a nice spot for the trunk. And then we can put all the heavy cast iron skillets in the middle here, like Rawhide said. We'll get it.
The wagons are packed, and it's time to make a total break with the modern day. This is the moment of truth. The families are given one last chance to put non-period items in an honesty box.
You guess. Oh no! Tweezers, lipstick, mascara, eyeshadow. It was only 3 things.
Can I use it really fast?
Can you use it? Well, since it's out, yeah. Can I just put lipstick on one last time?
Now let's just get to the homestead. Let's get broken up. That's what we need to do. We need to break these clans apart. Let's go start our lives without the neighbors being right here in your face 24 hours a day.
The team horses have been hitched to the wagons, and this is an opportunity to get everyone together for a group photo. The departure of the wagon train is the moment that Rawhide has feared most. Controlling powerful teams of horses is too dangerous for our families to be allowed to take charge, so Rawhide has hired professional drivers.
When you're doing a wagon train or anything with animals, there's always a risk of having something go wrong. You're more vulnerable with teams than with saddle horses because more people can get hurt quicker. If somebody falls off a horse or something, one person has got hurt. Team of horses run away, everybody in the wagon can get seriously hurt, and then everybody that gets run over can get hurt. And a runaway wagon, if you happen to be on it, is just like sitting on the bumper of a car and running it into some trees. You're going to get hurt.
The teams start out, but proceed nervously. Having waited while hitched as the photos were taken has left them skittish. Suddenly, a team spooks, and the driver loses control. They leap out of line and head straight for Adrienne. Connor is thrown from the driver's seat. Adrienne barely escapes. Thankfully, no one is hurt.
Well, the horses sort of got in a little argument or something, and then they just went berserk, and the guy, lost one hand of reins, and they got it back. And then that's when they got loose.
I could just hear what was happening behind me. I couldn't see. I saw them come running. I just ran for my life. I could hear the thundering hooves behind me. And Anya's running, I'm running.
Look at her eyes are shielded. She's got blinders on, 1883 style bright. We've been reading books about how accidents happen and women get accidentally kicked in the head. Well, it's no wonder they can only see what's in front of their frickin' eyes like this. They could walk right into harm's way without even knowing it. So there's a disadvantage with fashion in 1883, I can tell you right now.
Close one. You know, I grew up around horses. I know they're really unpredictable. You get a lot of horses together. It just takes one to be a bit restless and get everyone going. And it's just amazing, too, the power of those team horses. They are incredible. Once they get going, it's incredible. So we're lucky, I think. Luckily, nobody's hurt. Everything's fine. It's a good warning.
When we left with the wagons from the store, we discussed it a little bit of sitting there and taking a couple of portraits. And I said, well, when we hook up, we really need to go. The horses are going to be nervous and stuff. It got carried away, and it was taking longer than it should, and we had one team that was getting really nervous, and probably the only time in my life I've ever seen a wreck like that without breaking a great deal of stuff. But it was just a miracle that nothing got broken, nobody got hurt.
And here we go again. There they go.
As they head off again, only Rudy chooses to ride. The rest of the families will go on horseback or will walk the entire journey, like many homesteaders before them.
Rawhide's biggest fear this whole game has been when we start, the moment that these wagons take off to pull these loads. Okay, move to the side while the girls get on the horses. And you know what? I mean, he called it like you'd call up, inside straight on a 7-card stud. I mean, he called it. This is what he was afraid of from the beginning.
The Clunes were lucky. Local history recalls an all-too-common tragedy when a small child coming to this very area fell from a wagon and was crushed to death under its wheels. Fresh graves marked the way west. Hours into their journey, and our travelers are confronted with another harsh lesson of the trail. The road is out. It is late May, and the mountain snowmelt has burst an irrigation dam, washing the road away.
Gotta find an alternative route. Hell of a morning. It's definitely humbling just to know that everything's unpredictable. What do you think?
Hard to believe. One of these things happened once in maybe 50 years. It just happens to be today. Kind of one of those things that everybody run into, typical wagon train story.
Yeah.
The families wait and rest while the options are discussed.
It's kind of a long ways around. We have that option or holding up. Just like they used to do. They'd hold up and wait for the weather and all nature to get settled again, and then they'd go when they could. And we're right at that deal right now.
A decision is made. The families will take a long detour around the washed-out road, leading the horses and dogs. The wagons cannot take this route, so Rawhide must resort to a 21st century solution. The road is reopened, and the wagons can cross. The family's upper route will take them longer. The plan is to meet up with their wagons before night falls. They reunite and decide to call it a day. While the adults set up camp, the children try to catch dinner.
Oh no, this is bad. I had a fight, jeez. I'm gonna lose my worm and everything.
We're not gonna catch anything. Come on, I mean, we're too close to the shore.
Wish I just got my line tangled up. It's just the usual for me.
Returning empty-handed from fishing, Connor Clune is attacked by the Glen's dog, Duke.
My leg. Ow! Ow, my leg. My leg. Yikes! It was biting so hard. No, seriously, I was just like going over to get some sticks, and then he goes bazzacco. Oh, and he starts biting my leg.
I don't see where he broke the skin there, brother.
Well, it felt like...
I know. It feels like he did, doesn't it? If he wanted to break the skin, I think he probably could, don't you? We'll lock Duke up. We'll put Duke up.
Okay.
Okay.
Duke's like a hunting dog.
Quite a day. Probably looked like a wreck. I'm thinking that was quite an introduction to the hazards of the frontier. It was like incredible. It's just a little more real than I had anticipated. A little more real than I really wanted to get. It was like, whoa, it was close, I tell you.
It was very frightening, but I think that brought home the realization that what we are doing has elements of danger. It doesn't matter if you have a safety specialist on board, and it doesn't matter if everyone's been trained in first aid. Things can happen.
I think there's a learning for all of us in relationship to 1883, because those things, those little emergencies and the road out and the horses and all, I'm sure occurred in 1883.
Today was like the worst day of my life. The worst day of your life. I fell out of a wagon. I lost my worm without even having a bite. I was attacked by a vicious dog, being like, my legs being like bitten off. You call that fun?
Tonight, as Frontier House continues, the road is long and tough. But the families reach the promised land.
I think we got the crown jewel, Pop.
The real work of staking their claims begins.
Nice shot.
They deal with nature's fury
I can't feel my legs.
and deal with each other as they strive to succeed as pioneers.
I never thought starvation was going to be one of the things we'd have to do.
They couldn't eke it out. In 1883, what would they do? They would go home.
To order the entire Frontier House series on VHS, the CD soundtrack, or companion book, call 1-800-336-1917 or write to the address on your screen.
You're watching PBS.
Coming up tonight on WITF, explore a refuge for the rare tiger that was once a hunting preserve for the Indian Maharajas on the Living Edens at 8. Then American Experience tells the dramatic story of one of America's most paradoxical leaders, Ulysses S. Grant, at 9. It's TV worth watching tonight on WITF.
This week on Antiques Roadshow, we continue our visit to San Diego, California.
What did you pay for this? I forgot.
$30. You have any idea what this is worth?
No idea it was that much.
That's incredible.
It's Antiques Roadshow from San Diego, right here on PBS.
Monday night at 8 on WITF.
Can I ask you a question? The surgeon operates on a child and gives the parents a certain chance of success, say 80%. When he knows his real success rate is only 20%, the parents agree, sign the form, the operation goes ahead, and that child dies. A lot of us who've lost kids have been asking, isn't there a case of calling that murder?
Monday at 9, here on WITF.
It was unbelievable how catastrophic it was.
A deadly inferno.
The whole country was on fire.
A war with nature.
We have behind us here a potential Holocaust.
The fire crossed the ridge there.
They wanted to push the envelope. It was a gamble, and they lost.
This summer, I think, is a warning.
Fire Wars. Next time on Nova.
Tuesday night at 8, right here on WITF.
Pennsylvania's primary election is May 21st. Democrats Bob Casey Jr. and Ed Rendell are locked in one of the tightest and most expensive governor's primary races in state history. We'll talk live to both campaigns and take your questions on the issues on the next Smart Talk.
Thursday at 8 on WITF.
You're watching WITF TV, Harrisburg.
Three families are about to go back in time.
I feel almost like I've been sentenced to 5 months hard labor.
You could have the best intentions of coming out and starting a life here, and before you know it, you're bust.
It's not quite as charming as it once was, and Garden of Eden has turned into hell.
Fictionalized, mythologized, often romanticized. Now, see the real experience of life on the frontier.
Funding for Frontier House is provided by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation to enhance public understanding of the role of technology. The foundation also seeks to portray the lives of the men and women engaged in scientific and technological pursuit. Corporate support is made possible by
Bob's Red Mill Natural Foods, makers of over 400 stone-ground whole grain products for every meal of the day. Our all-natural products are available at your local grocer or natural foods market. Bob's Red Mill Natural Foods, to your good health.
And by Georgia Pacific. Life on the frontier would have been different with GP brands like Quilted Northern Bath Tissue, Brawny Towels, and Dixie Cups and Plates. Georgia Pacific. We make the things that make you feel at home. Major funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Nothing captures the epic adventure of America's pioneers better than the image of wagon trains rolling across the Wild West. It's a romantic vision that hides a harsh reality.
I wanted to walk the land one step at a time, to try to get in the shoes of the guys that walked here before us.
Now the question will be answered. Can 3 modern families carve a small community of homesteads out of the Montana wilderness?
I hope that we just make it. I hope to see the families really come together in a spirit of wanting to come together.
Footsore from 2 days of overland travel, they can now see their destination, Frontier Valley.
Alas, we're almost at the promised land. It's beautiful.
After dreaming about it for the last 3 months, to finally have an opportunity to sit up here and look down the valley, it's humbling. It makes you silent.
Each family is about to discover their new home sites, which lie half a mile apart along Frontier Creek. In the 1880s, many families gave up everything they knew for 160-acre claims they had never seen. Only when they arrived would they realize what they were up against. A lucky few homesteaders got claims with a finished cabin.
Good, I've reached for the light switch.
From Tennessee, Nurse Karen and teacher Mark Glenn and Karen's 2 children have a claim that comes with an abandoned miner's cabin, even a few sparse furnishings.
Oh, God, check out the stove.
That guy looks mean, Mom. I don't want him hanging over my bed.
See, all the way as far as you can see, all the way up to that mountain, all the way around, is our land.
California executive Gordon and housewife Adrienne Clune, along with 4 children, have hired carpenters to get their cabin started.
This has to be the most beautiful place on earth. You can see it's like paradise. It really is. It's like heaven on earth here. Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It's just so good. I'm crying because I'm happy, not because I'm sad. I'm just happy. Finally be in our own place.
Think we got the crown jewel, Pop?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, man. It's beautiful. Select a site yet for building?
No, that's gonna take a while.
At the top of the valley, Boston teacher Nate Brooks and his father Rudy have what was the most typical scenario. They must construct a home out of whatever they can find on their land.
You excited?
Yeah, great. Just hope as I can reach the end.
You make it, Pop.
It's the first morning on the land, and the Glens are waking up in their cabin.
Hey, come on. We need some wood gatherers. It's cold. That's okay. We get your clothes over here. I kind of feel really guilty that our plot of land had the housing on it. There's a family here that's bigger that could use the housing. If they don't want to sleep outside, and I wouldn't blame them one bit. Just let them bring in their mattresses. We'll sweep it up, clean it up. So I really hope that they will take that offer. Good morning. What's up?
It's about time that boy woke up.
The other two families are living in 8 by 10 foot tents.
Check this out here. This is the Clune Mansion. And we have 3 Clunes still living here. Tracy, you want to stick your head out? Can you find your head, sweetie?
I'm not sleeping right in front of the tent again.
We are really cramped, 6 people in a tent. I needed to kind of stretch out because my legs were sore from walking so much yesterday.
I'm in the bed last night and freezing and shivering. I'm like thinking, why did Gordon ever talk me into this? Oh, God. Only 4.5 months to go.
It's in.
Spurred by the misery of tent life, the families take on their most immediate need, building shelter. Nate Brooks still has to harvest the raw materials.
Go, Ward, go, run, go. Nice shot.
Some initial tasks are so dangerous that experts have to guide the families for the first few days.
Thank you, Mr. Tree.
Get up, lady.
Nate's cabin will require at least 21 more trees. The last half of the 19th century saw forests felled at a phenomenal rate. Expanding America was clearing timberland equal to the size of Connecticut each year. Down at the Clunes cabin, the carpenters have already hewn 60 trees into notched and peeled logs. Now Gordon has to take charge of putting it all together. It's a far cry from back home, where he's just paid for a mansion to be built in Malibu.
From where I come from, a lot of the work that we would have around the home is done by outside help. I haven't mowed a lawn in, 16 years, so therefore my children haven't mowed a lawn in their lives. It's been a long time since I had one of these. Oh, I've definitely been swinging a hammer all day today. It's pounding, moving up logs, and it feels good. God, it feels good.
While the men are working, it's up to the women to prepare the food. Using only supplies brought in on their wagon, Adrienne has 6 hungry mouths to feed. Without a cabin or a wood stove, her tools are primitive. Everything must be cooked over open fire.
This is baking. This is how I'm baking all our food, all our bread, everything. This is a camp Dutch oven. There are coals underneath it. So you're baking it from the bottom and from the top. I'm really definitely thinking about frontier women a lot and thinking about how they did it. It's just constant. It's like the whole day preparing food, boiling water, to be able to come down to your kitchen and have a cup of tea or coffee in 5 minutes. That's worth a lot. We've come a long way, I tell you, we really have. We've come a long way.
We get here, we gotta get animals taken care of, we gotta get food going, we gotta get fire going, we gotta figure out water source, we got to get wood supplies. It's pretty much everything at once.
Lord, thank you for the food you have provided us to nourish our bodies, and thank you for the table that we eat on and the house that we live in.
Thank you for this wonderful family and all the hands that go together to make everything work. There's no task that's too small and none that's too great. All are important here.
And thank you for the help of Nate and Rudy today and helping out neighbors.
Amen.
Amen.
After 3 cold nights, Karen is upset that the Clunes haven't accepted her hospitality.
I offered to let all the children stay in the cabin. It was real important to me that they feel like this was part of, their destination and that they had reached their goal. And Gordon didn't want to let them do that, and that really disappointed me. He's very difficult to be nice to. And it seems like every time I try to do something, it's just met with such roughness or friction. He's very difficult to like. And I'm at the point where I don't even want to try anymore.
While the Clunes have refused Karen's offer of shelter for their children, they have accepted it for their animals. The Clunes don't have a corral, so they use the one that came with the Glen's cabin.
It keeps going.
Crystal, the Glen's milk cow, has recovered from her illness and now shares her corral with the Clunes cow, Blanca, and their 2 calves.
Blanca.
Luckily, Karen's daughter, Erin, is proving a natural with the animals and is already at home with the experience.
I thought I'd never live without my television or my radio. I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss it so bad. I'm gonna have to get somebody to tape all my shows. But I don't need it. It's more fun just hanging out here without watching television.
I think I was made to be born in 1983. I just, got mailed wrong or something.
Whoa!
Up at the Brooks, Nate is eagerly anticipating the day his fiancée, Kristen, will arrive.
I can't wait for her to come out. She's gonna be surprised. Hopefully we'll have the cabin up and running, and yeah, I can't wait for her to come.
Nate and Kristen will be married here in Frontier Valley in a little over 5 weeks. But so far, the 2 men are making slow progress with the cabin, which makes them doubt claims in history books that such simple shelters could be built in a handful of days. In a gesture of communal goodwill, Gordon Clune and Mark Glenn give up precious time to help Nate build.
I think Gordon and I both could put ourselves in Rudy and Nate's position of her coming out here and how important a cabin is to be done. And having a roof over her head. So there's nothing that we won't do to try to ensure that this is ready when she gets here. And we're not going to ever be a complete community as far as the 3 families until we get a roof over their head.
Spring storms provide further incentive for everyone to get their families under cover.
We're getting a pretty good size storm moving in. May get some rain. You're so vulnerable and susceptible to the elements, to the weather. My boots were soaking wet and freezing cold, and I could barely walk from the tent to the fire, to start the fire, to warm my feet, to then think about, making a meal, to then going back to cowering in the tent. The cold and the wet is, it's part of the game. To live this kind of lifestyle, it's a challenge.
I think the reality of being in 1883 is different than what you might have envisioned. Was going to be milking some cows on occasion and riding horses and a nice, beautiful log cabin. I don't think we had a clear, realistic picture of what 1883 was all about.
Did a nice job.
Thanks. With the rice and potatoes.
We had a really big rainstorm, so as you notice, I didn't get a chance to really wash up that well. I just crawled into the tent, that's that. I feel guilt. Gordon Clune bringing out my family out here. The homesteader guy busted his hump out here, and I'm feeling like he is right now. I'm a little tired, and I'm ready to go to sleep.
It's the last day for the carpenters at the Clune cabin, which is going up quickly. However, lifting the final 350-pound logs up 2 stories is dangerous. So Mark Glenn and Nate Brooks come to help out.
There should be 2 people that are on the other side of the staging, I think, that are holding that.
Okay, so when we get it from you, we should come.
Neighboring is a lost art in our society. We're such a mobile culture. It's rare to really get to know your neighbors or invest any great deal amount of energy into the art of neighboring. So hopefully that's one of the things that comes out of this experience.
Take your slack over the top.
I feel emotional. This is cool. This is kind of neat to be part of a team to build a log cabin. Feels really good. Feels good to be part of that.
Mark Glenn has been working on everyone's homestead but his own. Yet his gesture of goodwill causes an unexpected crisis.
There's our breakfast. The dogs managed to eat our breakfast again. I baked scones in the Dutch oven and sat it up here. Go back to the fire, and I come back, and this is on the ground, empty. So, like, half an hour's work this morning or more just gone down the dog's stomach. I just can't believe this, I swear.
Adrienne blames Duke, Mark's dog, who's been following him as he's been working in the Clunes cabin. Equally suspect, though, is the Clunes dog, Idaho, who is nursing 4 hungry puppies.
I feel awful. I mean, I can't even feed my children. I got all that trouble, get up early, get the fire going, make scones, and they were beautiful. Now, three of our kids are going to go hungry till lunch is ready. They get no breakfast, because some people can't keep their dogs where they should be.
Which dog ate the biscuits? Was it
Duke. This one.
Was it really? How do you know?
Because he came right when after Mom screamed, he ran over this way.
Do you think it was him and not Idaho?
It wasn't Idaho. Wouldn't do that. Okay. Mom said it wasn't Idaho. Mom said.
Anyway, the dog shouldn't even be here, but you know, since Mark's here working, his dog can be here.
Well, can't you come on down for a minute? I got a baked potato with cheese and bacon and cornbread. Hi, Nate. Hey, Gordon.
Hi, Karen.
How are your women folk? I hear they're having one traumatic event after the other.
I think everything's fine. They're doing great.
I heard this morning that one of the dogs, and it's always this kind of stuff, when it's one of the dogs, it means that was probably somebody else's dog, got into some biscuits or something like that. But I think it's much ado about nothing. I'm pretty sure it was Idaho because she was taking food to her pups.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Gordon, he told the girls that, like Anya and Tracy, that next time our dogs came over to their campsite or ate their food or whatever, that he was gonna shoot them. He can't shoot a tin can. Get a life. Ugh.
And now I'm trying to make split pea soup for supper, but I can't cut through the bone here. It won't cut through, so.
I'm just mad because we're supposed to have a milk bucket, but Justin's not really doing anything.
After less than a week, the 2 teenage Clune girls are growing tired of frontier life. Their biggest complaint is walking twice a day to milk at the Glens.
It sucks. I hate milking.
The cows smell, they step in their crap. All they do is moo, and they have to shoo the flies away, and it takes an hour to milk, and then we have to walk back for an hour and take the milk bucket that's full, and it spills all over our dresses. And then we have to do it again after that. And pretty much by the end of the day, we walked 4 miles. And it really sucks. She's done.
Anya and Tracy have been complaining a bit about the work. It's been tough for them. They're starting to say they want to go to the beach, they want to go to dinner. This morning they asked me, why did you and Dad sign up for this? And I said, because I thought it was going to be fun. They're like looking at me like, you know, you were so far off.
To make matters worse, a rumor is circulating in the small community that Anya and Tracy have broken the rules by smuggling in modern goods. Afraid of being exposed, they decide to confess.
We just want to confess that Anya snuck in makeup, and I had her bring my eyelash crimper. All we did, really, was wash our hair in the creek with shampoo, herbal essence.
Yeah, and we put it in a honey bottle thing. And I didn't even know my mom brought the shampoo, so.
Yeah, it was a surprise. We're like, yeah, shampoo, and then we kind of got over
And we didn't even use that much.
Yeah, we just used a bit.
So. And we used some face wash.
I haven't used face wash.
Well, we tried, but never
No, we
worked
didn't.
out.
We didn't use it because we didn't get a chance to go to the creek.
Well, my mom used it.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
But from now on, we're gonna get rid of all our modern stuff because it's pointless to even bring it. Because we don't even care what we look like, even though we look like crap.
I know. Well, at least we have the ability to look better when we have makeup on.
Yeah.
I think that's like enough.
We're gonna bury our stuff, and we feel really bad, so we're sorry. And hopefully, no one else rats us out because there's nothing else to rat out. There's a tree way over there all by itself, so we're gonna go bury it under the tree.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
gonna be dead for 5 months.
Now Karen has nothing bad to say about us because we're not sneaking anything in anymore.
I asked Gordon if any of the women were going through any more tragedies, because it just seems like such a farce that it's comical. It's the makeup, it's the shampoo, a dog eating a biscuit. In the 1800s, you wouldn't even be considering this kind of garbage. You know, if you didn't want to let go, don't do this. You know? I mean, how uncreative. I mean, it's funny. Get a grip, start learning and doing what you need to be doing. I'm not from the West Coast, but so far, they're different. They're hard to get close to. They're hard to help.
Karen is offended by the Clunes, who are now voicing complaints about the project. Gordon, for instance, is grumbling about the distance he has to go to fetch water.
I think it's a ridiculous long way. But who am I to complain? Homesteaders didn't have anybody to complain to. No one.
Gordon's cabin is 150 feet from the stream. Many original homesteaders had to travel up to a mile for fresh water.
I mean, this is some of the BS that kind of goes on around. Well, why wasn't somebody thinking that the water's way the crap down there? You know, why couldn't somebody just say, hey, don't you want to have a life?
This isn't the only thing that has failed to impress Gordon during his first week on the frontier.
Whoever is responsible for this, I'd like to be able to give them a nice little shave with this supposed sharp razor. And if this person's still living afterwards, I'll bite my words and I'll complain no more. This must be purposeful. The buttons popped off purposely so I could hold up my trousers. You know, my hat doesn't fit me in the head purposely so it blows off, so I look like a real hoke. In 1883, do you think people actually had a box and had tea leaves in a box? Do you think it could be that revolutionary?
Or a tea caddy.
They have tea wrapped in brown paper, and the tea it's not even tied up, and it's like folded, and all the tea just crapped all over the place, and so there goes your tea. Just give me a break about 1883 man. I mean, he had a lot more going for him. He's a lot more civilized. He was in civilization. He came out here to kind of find a better world, and he brought some pretty competent things along with him. But that hasn't really been brought through with our historians and with our handlers.
The Clunes remind me of sort of the reverse, but the Beverly Hillbillies moving to Hollywood. It's more like Hollywood moving to 1883. And it makes it difficult because you're coming here with Hollywood attitude. You know, 1883 is different, and it takes a while for that transition to occur. And it's even more difficult when you're confronted with what you perceive as limited amount of food. You get tired after a while of, 6 o'clock a.m., 6 o'clock p.m. milking. Just all the things that are required to sustain a family or sustain oneself on the frontier, all that's real now.
It's nearly 2 weeks since they arrived, and the Clunes have still not sorted out some of their most basic needs.
I think it's not fair how guys get to stand up when they pee, and then me and Tracy came up with a way how to pee where girls stand up, and you just don't wear any underwear. Wait, okay. It's not my clothes.
Anya proves the point that the Clunes need to build a privy, and fast. Our younger brother Connor comes to the rescue with his shovel.
This is the latrine for the outhouse. It's about, I'd say 3 feet or something, or maybe even 4 feet deep. I am so known as like the digger. I've been digging latrines, wells, things like that. I've done that like all my life pretty much. I'd say the most fun hole I've dug would most likely be the latrine.
Upstream at the Glens, Logan already has a fully operational privy.
I love it because you have plenty of room down there. It's so far down you don't hear that much of a plop. And then toilet right here is big enough for everybody's butt.
There's no toilet paper. There's certain leaves that are more advantageous than others. These are pretty good ones right here. See, they're big. So what we do is we basically strip them off like that. You know, we clean ourselves with that. You know, nobody gave us any training like what's going to give you a rash or what isn't. But there's something in this leaf that actually it's a natural kind of a deodorant.
We have the 4 rags, one for each member of the family, and you're responsible for keeping your rag clean and washing it after use. If you come in here and your nail's empty, you can't use anybody else's rag. If they use leaves, that's great. You know, I just worry about rashes and bugs on the leaves, and, you know, in the wintertime, there's not going to be a whole lot of leaves to use. So, again, we're trying to, I guess, pre-plan.
14 days since their arrival, the Clunes finally cut a doorway into their cabin.
Yeah. I won't hit a nail or anything. No, we're right there. Hey, Adrian, do you have a minute? I want to invite you into the Clune Castle. Now, you're in.
Oh,
see that?
Fantastic! Yay!
Oh, it's a start.
We're moving in, guys.
You watch your step, everyone, okay?
Look at this. Wow, it's big. Right now, this is much more appreciated than even the Malibu house.
Here? Yeah, but it won't be damp.
Yeah, but it's 5-star, definitely. I love it.
I don't like this really much. I kind of want to go home, and I miss all the food, and I miss lots of people.
I'm getting them all out, okay?
Okay. We know in the morning we're going to be yelled at to start milking the cow.
Like every morning. We have to get used to the schedule because it's our job.
It's our responsibility.
Which is pretty crappy. Like, after we're done doing the cows and horses every day, we have to go wash all the clothes, everyone's clothes, which is all gross, especially the pants of the guys.
I know, they never seem to pull them down when they go to the bathroom.
My fear is we have so many things to do here, and I have to be a bit gruff and tough with my children. I have to bark orders. With some of them, I have to be like a Marine sergeant. I worry that I might be a little too severe on them, and I worry that I might drive them to hate this place, to hate me. But for their own good and for the good of the family, we have to get these chores done.
I feel almost like I've been sentenced to 5 months hard labor. You just start early in the morning and work all day and start all over again the next day. And at times you do get tired and you think, God, you know, I'm going to do this for another 4 months. And the work is physically very demanding. So you're very tired by the end of the day. You just want to go to bed and sleep.
Not only am I enjoying the entire experience, but I'm enjoying it with the people that I'm with. There are talents and there are things coming up now that we're seeing in each other that maybe we didn't know existed. Aaron has this affinity for animals that's unbelievable. And Logan is really developing this relationship with the outdoors. Last night he wouldn't come back in. It was freezing cold, but he wouldn't come back in because he's playing outside. And my wife, I always accuse her of micromanaging everything, but you know, I'm finding out that here somebody needs to micromanage because who has time to do the work and manage everything like that? So, am I enjoying it? More so than I can ever describe.
Hoist the mainsail, trim the half sheet.
At the Brooks camp, progress is slow, even with Gordon and Mark occasionally helping out. Knowing they can't always rely on others, Nate and Rudy have created a homesteader's device, a simple hoist called a gin pole.
This is a Frontier crane. We've put this pole in. It allows you to pull up logs at any height. It's been great having the help from Mark and Gordon, but on the days when they're not able to to come up, we still want to be able to be productive. So my father and I, if we're working here together, we can
On top.
pull up one of these logs on our own and get it into place. Take the rope. It's really been great working with my dad. At times I catch him, especially when his beard is starting to grow in and it's gray. He reminds me of my grandfather, and making that realization that my father's starting to get older, and that's a new experience to see the signs of age showing with him. It's just really thankful to have this time.
The Clunes are about to take another big step. They are installing their cast iron stove.
This is going to be a challenge. Here.
Oh, I love this stove. It is going to revolutionize my life.
I feel like a new woman. Got up this morning, started up the stove, and we're warm. We had hot tea, hot coffee, warm biscuits, and I'm just radiant. This is wonderful. I tell you, I am in heaven. Heat, warm water to wash your face with.
This is the first cup of tea off our stove, you know, and I'm drinking it.
In a nation dependent on wood, the cast iron cook stove revolutionized domestic life in the 19th century. 5 times more efficient than a fireplace, it was both a clean source of heat and an easier way to cook. But even the stove can't solve the Clunes' latest problem. They fear they are running out of food.
I'm really concerned about food, and so I'm watching how much we're using. I'm trying to ration it because I'm taking care of a family of 6 and 2 teenagers who appear to be ravenously hungry all the time. I mean, they're back half an hour after a meal looking for food, and they don't understand the concept of rationing. They've never had to do that before.
Homesteaders knew hunger. Spring was called starving time, when winter reserves ran low.
It's big. You got a piece of my food. Not that big. I barely even got a teeny piece.
Just put it down and wait till everyone gets here. Are they coming in?
Yeah, they're coming in.
Some settlers survived for months on simple dishes like cornmeal and milk.
Adrienne, you know, has a degree in food science out of Trinity College in Europe. She knows food, she knows how to cook, she knows how to prepare, she knows how to do a lot of things with little. But it's not fair to see someone as hardworking as my wife to be deprived, and to see my kids, to see Connor getting skinnier. It's just not fair. It's not right.
The 2 boys, Connor and Justin, they're losing weight. I'm really worried about them. The main thing the 2 boys have been eating is bread.
The Clunes are not out of food, but they've run low on several supplies, especially sweet goods. Today, the average American consumes 150 pounds of sugar a year, 3 times the amount that people ate in 1883.
I can't handle any more bread or just about anything without something sweet to put on there, just the tiniest little bit of something. So, you know, I don't know. When I volunteered to do this, I never thought starvation was going to be one of the things we'd have to do. And I sure didn't think we'd be deprived this much. Can handle a lot. It's just not fair.
My animals are well fed, my children are well fed, and honey, if you didn't understand that when you applied for this, then you were just on some little glitz trip. Obviously, I'm not doing this to be in a damn movie. I look like hell. These are our reserves. This is where I keep it, under the bed. So out of sight, out of mind.
Karen is annoyed because she has heard the Clunes are complaining about their shortage of supplies.
If they can't make it, then they need to ask for some help. If you're too arrogant to ask your neighbors for help, then you're either going to starve to death or you go home. I can come up with 100 wines, just like everybody else. But we haven't been doing that. I mean, I could use up all our supplies in one night. You make it last, just like you do at home, if you're used to working on a budget. But if you're not, then you're in hell in a handbasket. We still have over half a bottle of molasses, raisins, almost all of our olive oil, dried apples, prunes that everybody wants, and honey. You know the secret to honey? When you have about this much, when you've used about this much of your honey, go ahead and replace it with some warm water. It extends it, and it's easier to pour anyway. It's just being a little bit innovative. You don't need a college degree to figure out that you can kind of thin it down just a bit and it still has a sweet kick to it.
In 1883, if you were hungry, you could hunt game. Today's laws make it illegal for our families to kill out of season, but help is on its way from an unlikely source. The Crow Indian tribe.
Yeah, that's good enough.
It's good enough, okay.
In a gesture that turns history on its head, Dale Oldhorn, professor at the Little Bighorn College, harvested a mule deer to feed the families.
That's better, a little more.
That's good. That's good enough.
Okay.
Modern tribal law allows its members to hunt year-round on their reservation.
Okay. The easiest way to skin it is to take your knife, pull the skin out like this, and cut right underneath it, and just take short cuts to about here.
The irony is that in 1882, only a year before our family's time period, the Crows still hunted and camped in Frontier Valley. But a disputed treaty turned the land over to the United States, and thereby the homesteaders.
Okay, you got ribs.
Deliver it up.
I come here visiting all of you with mixed feelings. You know, here's homesteading, and reminds me of the time, 1883, when my people were so put upon. You'll see in history where a huge buffalo slaughter going on, and the effect of that was that since it was a staple for the American Indians, the Indians began to starve. It was against government policy for Indians to hunt, and so they were starving the Indian people out.
Connor? Not yet, Connor. You serve your guests first, always.
In the decades following 1883, 1 out of every 3 Crow starved to death.
When the Crow people were moved from this territory here, this very land we're sitting on, it was under gunpoint, and they were forced off. And so the concept that the homesteaders were coming onto free land was a wide misconception.
The free land offered to homesteaders did have a high price, only it was paid for by the American Indians. The families know they can't depend on gifts of food, so they get going on a more lasting solution. For many original homesteaders, planting a garden would have been even more pressing than building a cabin.
As a first timer, I just kind of hold on and try not to let go of it.
Back for the day, livestock expert Rawhide Johnson is here to drive the team.
Having a little trouble getting through the sod here, and then when we get through, it's just like pulling the carpet out of a whole warehouse all at one time, and my little horses can't pull it.
Many homesteaders were lured by advertisements claiming fortunes could be made from the fertile soils of Montana. As many discovered, busting sod was backbreaking work.
Invigorating morning.
At the Glens, The sod is even tougher and full of roots and stones.
Someone is going to have to describe to me how in gosh's name a guy that comes from Tennessee that was a school teacher comes up here and is able to run a plow and control everything through this. And you know, breaking sod and stuff like that, I know exactly what they're talking about now because it's amazing just running that plow behind it. It was like, it's easier. It would be easier to drive a Ferrari than it would that plow.
The families abandon the plow in favor of the pitchfork and shovel. Their dreams of large crops have been scaled back.
So when we start having vegetables, it's our vegetables. And I guarantee you what, too, about the first time I see a varmint out here, shotgun's coming off the lock, and I'm gonna blow some heads off because they weren't in here doing this all day long.
The Brooks take a different approach.
We kind of revised the garden plan, and we've raised the bed, essentially, so that this airspace will hopefully keep a lot of the ground critters away.
Yeah.
Each family has been given a small quantity of seeds and cuttings, similar to those brought west by the settlers.
It's an integral part of our existence at this point. Our food supply is dwindling. As soon as the salads are edible, they'll supplement what we have.
I feel like I'm growing up a lot here, because like before, like if I was in Temecula or California, wherever I used to live, like I wouldn't do anything. I would just sit on my butt and watch TV, and I was just a lazy person. But like now that I'm actually doing work, I feel like a better person. Like, you know, I'm actually doing something to help other people.
I find the Clune family interesting, and I think that they've made the greatest change. And I see them as a family getting closer together. And we'll probably be a much stronger family unit when they leave here.
After planting their garden, the Glenn family is eager to do more farming. So they use their savings to purchase a second milk cow and calf.
This is our new cow, Jessica. Easy.
And is that her calf?
That's her baby. Easy.
Faced with 3 cow-calf pairs in a corral that will only hold 2, the Glenns tell the Clunes to move their cow.
Set your priorities. We housed their animals for almost 3 weeks until we got our other cow, and then we said, look, we just can't do this anymore. Well, but we don't have a corral. They see that they had every right for their calf to stay up here. Bullshit. This is my property. That's my corral. When we bought it, it was here, existing. Too bad you don't have one. Build one.
The Clunes start work on a corral. The sense of community so eagerly anticipated is already under strain.
They seem not to care, like, at the very beginning. And so, all of a sudden, they're just like, you have to get your cow out of here, blah, blah, it's not our cow. So it kind of made me mad.
Many a fight between pioneers centered around their livestock. One of America's most famous family feuds between the Hatfields and the McCoys left 12 men dead and was sparked off by an errant pig.
I just think the Glenns should be a little, like, more understanding that we need to keep the cow there for a little bit longer, but they're making us get rid of it tomorrow. I don't understand, like, why they would be all nice about, like, being all friendly with neighbors. They talk so much crap. Actions speak louder than words.
And they don't understand that.
I think because they're West Coast cutie pies that they can't hang, and I feel like because we're from Tennessee and we're a little stronger stock, does that make it right? No, because families then were a little bit tougher, and those were the ones that stayed and succeeded. It is not fair. If they couldn't eke it out, then you know what? In 1883, what would they do? They would go home, and if that's what happens, you know, I'll help them pack.
I see cool people.
It is mid-June. The rest of the nation is enjoying summer, but Frontier Valley is hit by a freak snowstorm. The family's freshly planted gardens are buried under 9 inches.
Still snowing heavily. Every few minutes you hear a big crash and a creaking, and what it is tree limbs falling off the trees all around the place here. Here's one that just came down over here near our old kitchen, and there goes one right now. That one just came down right now, right in front of us. I don't know, but the girls need to go milking. They're gonna have to be awfully careful.
Girls, come on, you gotta I don't have a jacket and I don't have any socks or shoes. I can't really run outside with bare feet.
We can't get the girls' clothes dry. I washed their clothes Monday, laundry day, and it poured rain, and so they're still wet. I'm still trying to dry them. So they have no clothes to wear. They're in there just in chemises, trying to put blankets around themselves so they can go milking. Tracy, there is nothing else to wear. Here's the skirts from Monday, washed. It's still wet, still damp, and this is the dress. Still damp as well.
The Clunes milk cow escaped from their new corral, and the girls think she's gone back to the Glens.
Are the milk buckets ready?
I hate the snow. It's not any colder out here than it is inside. Hey, go for our garden. Look at that.
Now remember, you're not to walk directly under the trees, you hear? Stay on just the trail.
The girls, with nothing to wear except blankets, needed to go milk the cows. It was just ridiculous. They didn't even have underwear to wear, really. And it just made me feel really inadequate and guilty, like I should have been able to think further ahead.
We can't do this. We had to walk like almost a mile in the snow, which is about maybe 10 inches like deep. And I didn't have any clothes, so I had to go outside with a blanket and 2 gloves for my socks. I was kind of expecting to throw snowballs at everyone. Didn't happen. Oh, my leg's numb. I can't feel it. It's burning. I almost got killed, too, because there was a branch that almost, like, snapped in front of me and Anya, and that was really scary. Better than my top. Ah! No. Tree! Really? No! Right there! Run! Run!
As expected, their cow and calf returned to the Glens.
Then when we got there, it was just freezing. My legs were numb all the way up to my knees. I couldn't feel them. That was like one of the worst days of my life.
Tracy, Anya, got milker here.
What?
Take her home to milk her, guys.
What?
Because she's staying up here. And we had the calf up here all last night, too, suckling from her and from our other cows. Did you guys know that? Hey, Justin. Did you guys know that?
They escaped.
Huh?
They escaped.
Well, you should have come up and gotten them. Don't milk her here because she'll get used to being milked here. Milk her at your corral so she's used to being milked there. Okay?
Christ, Mark, can I please milk her here?
Why?
Look at my legs!
Huh?
We're milking her anyway.
Okay, after you get done milking her,
We're walking her back.
walking her back and tie her up. Okay? Especially because of the calf. Now we're worried about the calf because it was sick this morning from eating all night long. The issue that I had this morning with the girls milking their cow at our house, it irritated me a little bit when I said, you know, it'd be better if you milked at your pen. And Tracy said, well, I'm gonna milk here anyway. Well, you know what? I got news for you. This isn't your property. It's my property. It's our property, and these are our animals, and we're trying to do what's best for our animals. And what's not best is to have a calf running around here loose all night with our cows, because it takes away from our calves too. Hey, ladies. Hey.
Nate was on his way to the Glens, having been invited to coffee.
What are you guys doing?
Not very good.
Your hands getting cold?
Oh, my legs are cold. This is all I have to wear.
Here, give me a turn.
No, it's okay.
Give me a turn.
You don't have to.
Well, you should get up and walk around. You don't want to get too cold.
Community. There isn't any community. There are 3 different homesteads, and we're all trying to get it together and get it going as best as possible.
We should get you home because all you'll get is frostbite on your toes.
And we have to take the cow back.
I'll get the cow. Forget about the camera. Forget about everything else. Just concentrate on getting your feet warmed up and getting back to your place. All right?
I think so.
You want to lean on me?
I am so community vested, but I also know that there's a limit. A lot of it's respect. This isn't really yet community to me because no one's had to really ask the other neighbor for help. Till you really need a friend or you need a neighbor, it's not community.
I think back to the folks in 1883 that came out this way. You could have the best intentions of coming out and starting a life here, and it only takes, one broken leg or a weather storm that came in or animals eating your crop, and before you know it, you're bust.
Next time on Frontier House, sex.
Maybe nobody was having any sex on the frontier. Nobody was happy.
Strife.
We're at divorce level.
I think my wife has turned into some type of Hitler.
And starvation.
I'm really hungry.
He's just skin and bone.
As our pioneers prepare for a big event.
This is a great wedding gift. Pre-wedding gift.
Can they all commit till death do us part? Once the honeymoon is over,
Oh my God, I just look so ugly.
they get down to the nitty-gritty of survival.
This is our dinner.
I'm not in the mood to be sick. Not anymore.
I have a husband at home who is fading away.
Pushed to their limits, they break away from 1883,
I'm trading baked goods with the neighbors.
while others stick to the rules.
We have done everything authentic, instead of succeeding by cheating.
It sucks. It just totally sucks. It's totally hard out here.
Take a virtual visit to Frontier Valley at PBS Online to explore the experience as it happened. There's also homestead history and more video diaries at pbs.org. To order the entire Frontier House series on VHS, the CD soundtrack, or companion book, call 1-800-336-1917 or write to the address on your screen.
Yeah, we saved one egg to show the hens what we wanted, and that's when I coached them. I told them, this is what we want, this is what we need, and this is what we're gonna get. And so they got to it. They worked and worked and worked.
We were looking for Justin everywhere last night. You can come in closer and you can take a look at this. You can see we have ourselves an outhouse, but Justin was sick. We didn't know what happened to him last night. He went out and it turns out that he crapped himself. Justin? He crapped himself. He actually had diarrhea so bad that he completely went inside out.
We had to go chasing chickens. Chickens?
Funding for Frontier House is provided by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation to enhance public understanding of the role of technology. The foundation also seeks to portray the lives of the men and women engaged in scientific and technological pursuit. Corporate support is made possible by
Bob's Red Mill Natural Foods, makers of over 400 stone ground whole grain products for every meal of the day. Our all-natural products are available at your local grocer or natural foods market. Bob's Red Mill Natural Foods, to your good health.
And by Georgia Pacific. Life on the frontier would have been different with GP brands like Quilted Northern Bath Tissue, Brawny Towels, and Dixie Cups and Plates. Georgia Pacific. We make the things that make you feel at home. Major funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
This is PBS.
From American experience, he was the Civil War's most unlikely hero.
How could such an ordinary man achieve such extraordinary feats?
As a commanding general, he was called incompetent.
He got drunk, and people noticed it.
A butcher.
Someone had to be blamed for such an enormous loss of life.
But he would win every campaign he ever fought.
A general who can ride around the battlefield, and by glimpsing men advancing over there, troops forming up over here, artillery firing somewhere in the distance, and can put all of these pieces together in his head and see what is actually happening through the smoke. That is a general who has an extraordinary gift.
Grant, not Lincoln, is the most popular man in the 19th century. No question about it.
He'd won a civil war. He'd put the Union back together.
The hero of the Civil War. Twice a grateful nation would elect him president. But the general who had been victorious in war would find his greatest defeats in peacetime.
He didn't want to fight what he called a second civil war. Didn't want to do it. Didn't want to be the guy that sent troops back into the South and started this thing all over again.
War is a very different human enterprise from politics. He couldn't do it as president.
And in his final battle, he would race against death to preserve his own legacy.
It was a terrible way to die.
An all-new portrait in The President's Collection, Ulysses S. Grant, on American Experience.
Coming up tonight on WITF, explore a refuge for the rare tiger that was once a hunting preserve for the Indian Maharajas on the Living Edens at 8. Then American Experience tells the dramatic story of one of America's most paradoxical leaders, Ulysses S. Grant, at 9. It's TV worth watching tonight on WITF.
This week on Antiques Roadshow, we continue our visit to San Diego, California.
What did you pay for this? I forgot.
$30. You have any idea what this is worth?
No idea it was that much.
That's incredible.
It's Antiques Roadshow from San Diego, right here on PBS.
Monday night at 8 on WITF.
Can I ask you a question? A surgeon operates on a child and gives the parents a certain chance of success, say 80%. When he knows his real success rate is only 20%. The parents agree, sign the form, the operation goes ahead, and that child dies. A lot of us who've lost kids have been asking, isn't there a case of calling that murder?
I hope you rot in hell!
Monday at 9, here on WITF.
It was unbelievable how catastrophic it was.
A deadly inferno.
The whole country was on fire.
A war with nature.
We have behind us here a potential Holocaust.
The fire across the ridge there.
They wanted to push the envelope. It was a gamble, and they lost.
This summer, I think, is a warning.
Fire Wars. Next time on Nova.
Tuesday night at 8, right here on WITF.
Next time on American Family.
The events of September 11th caused Jess to reflect on his service in the Korean War.
I'm an American, damn it, I'm not a murderer.
And Conrado makes a life-changing decision.
The Army.
You say you want to save lives. The way things are going, that's probably the best place to go.
I've decided to enlist in the Army as a doctor. I'm leaving in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, huh?
Wednesday night at 8 on WITF.
Pennsylvania's primary election is May 21st. Democrats Bob Casey Jr. and Ed Rendell are locked in one of the tightest and most expensive governor's primary races in state history. We'll talk live to both campaigns and take your questions on the issues on the next Smart Talk.
Thursday at 8 on WITF.
You're watching WITF TV, Harrisburg.
The following program is supported by WITF members and by the Strasburg Railroad.
Experience Lancaster County aboard the Strasburg Railroad. Witness the birth of spring as farmers prepare their fields. Relax and make a day of it by riding our train, eating a meal in the dining car, visiting shops, or exploring the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. The Strasburg Railroad. Miss it, and you'll miss Lancaster County.
Tracks Ahead, brought to you by Kalmbach Publishing Company, producers of an online source for rail-related information where you can discover model trains, toy trains, garden trains, and even real trains. Kato, manufacturer of precision railroad models, and the Unitrack system.
Hi, I'm Spencer Christian. On this episode of Tracks Ahead, we'll visit a huge high rail layout in our nation's capital. We'll talk with John Bromley, a railroader and artist, and we'll check out the